first item on the agenda is the minutes from last month. Okay, second item on the agenda is the resolution to approve an exception to the city's moratorium on the sale of city-owned acquired property due to special circumstances. Mr. Little,
Yes, ma'am.
you're up.
All right. The particular property in question is one that you've seen before. You may recall, 717 Colfax. At one point we had done, I forgot the rapper's name, and he didn't do anything, so we took the property back. We received a proposal from the superintendent of schools that he would like to make a similar offer, but he'll pay a little bit more for it, and he'll commit to starting on this project right away. He'll put the money in it that's required. He'll meet all the other requirements we have, and will give the city a right of, and he commits to live in it, and him and his family, and this is, he'll stay in it for 10 years or better. And if at any point he would want to sell it, he'll give a first right of refusal to the city to purchase it for 15% more than what he's put into it. And I don't think we could get a better deal anywhere. So I want to recommend that this go forward and that the commission approve.
All right, I think it's a great idea. As a superintendent of schools, I know he's, I think, living in Indiana, so I think he
And he wants to
wants to
move
move
to
here.
town.
Yeah.
And being right down the street from the school, from his job, perfect.
I don't have any questions about this. So I would say, let's move it on.
All right.
Move it, next item on the agenda. Approval of the purchase of properties from Variant County, tax sale for the city's public purposes.
As we do annually, I got the county's listing of properties that were being scheduled to go to tax sale to review them and make them aware of which of those properties the city would like to have removed that we'd like to take possession of. It's about 20 properties, and the anticipated cost would be around $24,000. I'd like to give just a little bit more explanation. There were a number of other properties on there too. Some that would have been ideal for us that I would like to have purchased, but because there was such a short time when I got this list and we didn't have a chance to really consult with you all on the commission, I went ahead and bypassed them this time. What has happened with the change years before, the county would sell the properties and get whatever they could, and the extra money they would basically use to tear down homes and things like that. There was a change in the law that allows the property owner previously, before it went to tax sale, to file a claim. And if the property sells for more than the taxes that are due, they're entitled to the proceeds. After I got the list at the beginning of the week, it had a number more that were there, but by the time I got a revision on the list, less than a week later, there's a bunch of them that people that file claims on. Now, when they file a claim, that causes us to have to pay twice the SEV, where otherwise all we're paying is the taxes due to the other jurisdictions. And I didn't want to come in with that without having talked to anybody about it beforehand. So this year, we went ahead and let those go. There are a couple of them on this list that you'll note where they do have X's on them. Those are two parcels at the top of the hill right next to the armory. And we've been wanting and waiting to get those. So we put those on the list. But I recommend that we go forward with it. If you would be worthwhile for us and will fit in with the program that we're working on to try to start using these to start getting homes rebuilt in the city.
I just have a question. I know we have a number of those lots and stuff like this, so these will be added to the ones that we have and added to one of those, the contractors that's doing lawn cutting, they'll be doing, working on that or again.
And we're hoping that time's gonna get shorter because we're working to try to put a program together that I anticipate we'll have rolled out before next spring. We've got University of Michigan working with us and assisting us. We're also talking with MISTA and MML. And what we're looking at coming up with for individual lots, where I can put a number of them together and get a large enough tract, those I'll take and propose to developers to come in and build a complex. But where they're individual lots and things of that nature, one or two and so forth, we're working to try and package using the pattern homes, somewhat similar to what you saw in the master plan, where they had singles, duplexes, quads, and so forth. And under the pattern homes, they can buy at a rather low cost the complete construction package for a particular home. Coupling that with the tax benefits that we may be able to make available using the state's incentives and so forth, and then offer those packages to people who have sufficient money to make the down payment and get financing so that we can make a lot available also to go with it and try to start getting homes built on these lots. We want to stop this process of people grabbing land and just sitting on it forever doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, because this city needs tax base, it needs population, it needs housing stuff.
So if somebody came to you and they said, well, we propose building a home, you may not have that package necessarily, but if they can prove that they have financing in place, a builder in place, you will consider selling those lots to
Either selling them or doing a 99-year lease on them where they pay the taxes. Yeah. And the key is, again, get our housing stock up, our tax base up, rebuild our population and hold on to population that's wanting to be on the local and have no place to go.
Right.
That's one of the strategies that we're going to be working on related to this whole job situation for our existing citizens, is working with the schools and so forth to try to identify students who are not necessarily planning to go on to college that are interested in working locally to help get them the training they need, and when they get a job where they can afford it, to be able to buy a house here at home, not to get a job and have to move out of town
Right.
somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Thank you, Chair. So we have over this last year and a half, since we had a moratorium on it, we had a lot of residents ask about purchasing property. And we always tell them the same thing, that we have a moratorium on it.
Right.
So now my question to staff is, what is special circumstances? Because I don't want to see nepotism or cronyism or any of that. And when I hear special, I get excited. So my question is, what exactly is this special circumstance?
Are you referring to the authorization to purchase properties from the tax sale?
Yeah, I am.
Where do you see that at?
In the number 2 item, it says due to special circumstances. That's what it says, so I'm just asking, what would be the special
We're
circum?
on item number 3.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
We're on item number 3.
Can you still answer that question for me?
Well, special circumstances is that we have a qualified buyer that's interested in taking that property.
Speaking to the mic, so
Please come here.
We have a qualified buyer that has a wherewithal and has made a proposal to develop and move into and live in this house, very similar to the proposal that we had before with the, I forget the rapper's name.
Yeah, I remember that. We made some really bad deals with some of these residents. They didn't follow through. And, yeah, so that's why when y'all hear special circumstances, they were special too, and it didn't work.
Well,
So maybe one worked.
The reason for the term special circumstances is that I'm referring to the fact that this is different from the moratorium on the sale of properties.
Yeah, this is a different item.
Yeah, okay.
It's a different item.
Did it get moved to the full body? You spoke of?
Yes, the first one, the second
Number
item
2.
on the agenda, yes. The third item on the agenda we were discussing, that was about city home properties. We were discussing,
The purchasing.
the purchasing of the properties, which would be totaling $24,000 for everything that you see on that list. And we were discussing the usage for those properties as it relates to the city. My question that I think you walked in on was, if a resident wanted to purchase one of those lots, if they could prove that they had a plan, they had their financing and everything, and wanted to purchase one of those lots, how would they go about doing that, especially since we're trying to rebuild our housing stock? So that was the question that Mr. Little was answering, how they could do that, still do that,
I heard
if
that.
that makes sense.
If I might, one other piece of information I wanted to share about this. I deliberately put the section down there that you see the lines through to remind me to share with you what that's about. On the listing this time, the modern plastics over here. You know, that's been in litigation for years now, and it finally has been resolved and is in the county's hands. Initially on the list, it showed those properties, but it didn't show a minimum bid or amount of money. So I requested initially to take all of those except the building, because in those buildings, you gotta have somebody tear it down and all of that. They came back and said, no, they want to do it all as one package. And I asked them, I said, you know, we'd have difficulty with paying the amount of back taxes, certainly with the cost to tear it down. I said, but the city really wants that property. I said, it's right immediately adjacent to Ox Creek. And we talked and went back and forth to, the resolution is that the county has agreed they're not going to try to put it in the auction this year. They're going to hold it for next year. And in the meantime, that they're going to try and tear it down and clean it up. And I asked them then, once that's done, it's possible the city can get it. And I think there's a good possibility, and there may also be a possibility that our collaborative group working on the street might assist us with being able to get that. So,
That's a wonderful piece of
So we'll
property.
get it back.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. We'll try to get it back.
Yeah, we should get it back.
Because it's a big piece of property sitting in a prime spot with Harbor Shores right there next to it, Ox Creek here, and a nice piece of developable property between Ox Creek and the railroad track.
Chair Short.
Yeah, I'm sorry for my language. All right, that's number 3.
Yes, sir.
Number 4,
Can I ask,
approval of economic justice 40 plan.
Honorable Chair, can I ask one question about this number 3 item?
No, I'm just kidding.
Good plan, Mayor Pro Tem. I know, Mr. Little, you probably know what I'm gonna ask about. Could you give us a complete listing of city-owned property?
No, I cannot in this town.
We can't get it because of what reason?
As I said before, I really haven't had time to update and try to put all of that together. And I've gotta be honest and tell you, I don't have the time now.
Well, I can imagine, because I wasn't asking you to do it, to the city manager, that our assessor have all that information. And I wasn't expecting you to do it. I was expecting the city manager to ask the assessor to let us see every property in a map or, some kind of form. I don't care. It could be just like this. But
Suggestion, don't we have like a list of all the properties that was brought that come before the city council in the form that look like this sheet right here? Clerk?
I would have to go back to prior to me. I don't know how it was presented before, but I can look back and see
That's-
every time that it was approved, if there was a list attached.
Should be a list like this.
But I think that she can pull that information.
I'm sure she can. That's what they do, the assessor. So through chair, can we ask for that information to be privy?
Thank you. Do me a favor. We're about to do something different. Let's go 10 and 11 real quick. So we can go real quick. Resolution of appreciation for PhD University of Michigan. From which Allen Gallimore. Can we speak on that real quick?
Sure. These are two people that work with the University of Michigan School of Engineering. When I believe the mayor first approached them about the university working with the system of the city. And Alec Gallimore and Dr. Lentz, both of them, PhDs, stepped forward and responded through the College of Engineering. As I recall, they first started working with us when I was over at Gallup back in 2017. And in fact, I think the second year, we got a $1.6 million National Science Foundation grant. And they were helping us along with Tasha and several of them. And so, since these people now, I believe, have moved on from U of M or in the process, we wanted to give a resolution of appreciation. One way to help is to get people to keep helping is when we show them that we recognize what they've done.
This is just to say thank you.
This is just a saying.
All right. Anybody have a problem with that? University of Michigan resolution just to say thank you for the help with Takata. Any other
Or in the city, because they're working
and
with
the
us
city?
on Ox Creek,
Ox Creek.
everything.
So moved. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Request to set a public hearing for August 7th, 2023, to establish a public Act 210 commercial rehabilitation district for the Renaissance Athletic Club, 51 Graham Street.
I'd like to recommend that we move that forward to the second public hearing. As you know, it's a minority new business, and they're getting ready to do $200,000 of more rehabilitation work to its upgrade. And that's to the benefit of us all.
Anybody have a problem with doing Dr. Travis?
What time is this, special meeting? We got a commission meeting that night, so what time are you proposing before the meeting?
I would say.
It'll be during the meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Dunn, it's your time.
Yeah, this is a question. So, they're, so this particular company probably is giving a classification to allow them to access some federal funds, or?
Basically to get a tax break for the work that the upgraded work that they're doing. They have a tax break for up to 10 years. They'll still pay taxes and just have a dividend discount, pay less.
Almost on the line of Brownfield.
Yeah, so it basically just freezes their current taxable value for the next 10 years because they're putting in $250,000 is the approximate estimate. Their taxable value now is $571,975.
What's that?
I'm sorry.
571,975.
What are they paying a year?
That I don't have. I just have the assessing information.
Alright, that's probably gonna be something that's gonna be asked, that people gonna wanna know how much they're actually paying to the city. Right now, it's going to be a sizable amount. And being that they will be doing this upgrade, I don't see a problem with that. We have a problem with setting a public hearing. All right. I'm sorry, Commissioner Henry.
Thank you. I need to know, every time I ask for something for the people, that the people need, I get the thing, we don't have the money. There's no money allocated for that. Now, why would I want to give this person a tax break? For what reason? That's what I want to know. Why do I want to give him a tax break? For what reason?
My answer would be for the same reason we would offer it to any other business that is expanding or improving and developing in the city. If people do have the option of building, locating other places.
Oh, that sure is a good option, and I agree with it.
And we
If you,
want to
if,
encourage-
I need to know, why do we need to give this company a tax break?
Same reason why we did all the other companies that have been,
Then how come we don't have the money that we need to service the people? Is it because of the tax breaks? Everyone that come in here and ask for a tax break, we give it to
It's
them.
not a tax break, it's a tax freeze, which means.
Same difference to me, that means less money coming into the city.
I'd like to try and give a response on why we don't have money for doing a lot of things that citizens are trying.
You speak up louder.
Yes, I will.
Citizens want to hear.
One reason that we don't have money is because so many of the different things that we ought to be receiving income from, like any other city, we don't. I believe we charge for parking out of Jim Clark Park is the only place in town that we charge for parking.
Because you want.
We
Going to board,
need to charge for
warning,
parking.
warning.
All right. We don't want to write tickets and force people to pay for the violations. I've been doing alleys right now, and as fast as we're doing alleys, people are coming behind throwing junk in the alley. They ought to get a ticket and have to pay for it. But we don't get money from any of these things, and we need to. That's why we don't have money, because we're not charging anything, we're giving everything away.
Including the tax break.
Listen to that.
That's another giveaway.
Well, I think code enforcement was doing, about the code enforcement downtown, we probably get about a mayor copy. Yeah, right
Mr.
now.
Joe,
No, it's the truth. You have code enforcement that's non-code compliant downtown, that not only is in the alleys, but downtown, well, we only got a building that have, look like a chess piece that can cut in half, that don't have anything to stop a kid from going out, people taking pictures there all day. We have buildings that should be tore down, they hamstrung us on that apartment complex down there in downtown, said they're gonna tear down and build condos. And still sitting up there like an oxen waiting for somebody to tear it down. And people are still walking through there and doing what they do down there. You have a building that's, we give tax break on, all phase building, that's safe. that should be generating tax revenue. That's not, you know, and as you said, and a lot of times we think it's people in ours running down that dumping, and people coming from other communities, dumping everywhere,
For sure.
you know, so I'm with you 100% on that.
We should be catching all of the ones in and out of the city that's dumping in town. We're paying $55 a ton after we pay the cost to pick the stuff up and haul it.
Point of order. Point of order.
So I do, Dr. Tynes does have his hand raised, point of order. Point of order, what's the point of order?
The point of order, we was talking about this establishing district, and now we got on what we're gonna do to residents. So I'm
When you
saying
said what?
back to the original conversation. Thank you.
Well, your question was, why do we don't have money for residents?
No, but that's not the truth. The truth is because of tax breaks we give
Dr.
people.
Tynes?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. 2 points. One, the point the commissioner is making is the same place of Eric Green, who was murdered. That city, that police department, what they did was abusive to the residents by using arrests to pay the city budget by a lot of taxation, code violations on the poor to, and they worked that into their projected budget. So we don't never want to be a city like that where you're abusing and attacking the residents. But the point that is made here is that the classification of this being a rehabilitation district, like an art district, that part. Now, is that going to be open to others who, say, Bethel Restoration Church wants to expand further out and maybe put a after-school facility in the back of its property and stuff? Will that opportunity be afforded to them?
If they were a tax-paying entity, they could make the same request and have the exact same type of district set up around the church and request the same kind of rate on their taxes. But since they're not tax-paying, it wouldn't matter in that case. If I might, and be sure.
One more example, the mom and pop right over there by Thurgood Marshall, who's on that side street, they would be eligible for this reclassification.
If they came in and asked for the same type of rate and said that I'm fixing to spend $200,000, $150,000 to upgrade my business, and I'd like to have this commercial district, then it could be offered to them.
So if this says $75,000 to pave and make it better, would that be considered, or is there a financial limit of $100,000 or $150,000 or above?
Let me defer to the clerk real quick.
So the first requirement to get the tax rate is to have the district, and the requirement is that it has to be at least 3 acres. So if there's a small company that comes in and they want to do it, we have to extend that district to at least 3 acres to the surrounding. Now, this particular business has 3.96 acres, so it's only going to apply to them.
Is the art district, do they get the benefits as well?
No, because they're not a commercial rehab district.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank you.
I just want to say, in terms of what I've been responding to earlier, I wasn't being facetious. A perfect example. When people want to use the beach, we charge them this $250 deposit for cleanup. When they finish, we return, if they clean it up, we return it to them. But it costs money to send people out to monitor and watch the beach and stuff, but there's no revenue coming back. What would be wrong with charging something also for the use that doesn't get given back? Those are the opportunities that are not ridiculous or harmful to people, but just allow the city to generate some revenue to pay the cost of providing services.
Is the question, is the bandstand rented or?
I'm unaware of it being rented. I think it all just goes in the package. It's all free as long as they clean up and return the deposit.
It isn't. There's a cost to rent the pavilion.
Good.
There's a cost, they have to pay a deposit and then that's returned. There is a cost.
Thank you.
Mr. Duncan,
My thought was always, it was cheaply done, cheaply managed. Everything what goes on out there, as far as those major events, should pay double what they paying for the use of that beach.
Point of order.
This,
point of order,
No.
point of order.
point of order.
We
now,
off,
Topic,
we off
point of
track,
topic.
we're
I
not,
don't wanna go off track.
we're
but I
talking
want you to
about this.
understand why we're not getting the money he's talking about getting.
Well, he's throwing you off, so you don't have to talk about what we're talking about. So please, can we go back to the main subject? And maybe, it seems like the clerk has a lot of information about this new district. And then she's already explained to us it's gonna be only this property that's gonna get this, district.
You only have
And,
100 acres.
And I can tell you that the Whirlpool building has the same commercial
I
rehab.
was just
yes.
gonna say, I can remember the time when they created that just for Whirlpool complex.
It was before it was built.
And, yeah, and there was some other things, and then on top of that, then they took us to court, and didn't like what they was paying at that time. So, my question is to the chair and this board. What would be the reason why we would subject us general fund not to get this improvement? This is a private company. What would make us really want to give any more tax breaks out? And we're hurting.
What would the taxes increase to once the renovations are completed?
Once they're all done, it's based on the new assessed value that takes into consideration the investment they made. That's the whole idea, to cause, to help
Tax base to go up.
have tax base. That's correct.
That's what
And in
the
fact-
citizens gonna face.
If you read the, I think it's the last 2 or 3 pages of your audit, there's a schedule in there about all of those tax breaks and how they work.
All right, moving that forward, thank you. Where we at?
Can we kick this one down the road a little bit more?
What we gonna
Because
do?
if you, first of all, how dare us to have a meeting like this with all of this important stuff, and most of the people's over there doing political dumb stuff, political stuff. And then we have a meeting with all of this important, it's like slime
Hey,
on the door
they're
now.
talking, they're not listening to you.
Well, that's all right, the people hear me. I'm just saying that this is, and when did it get sent out to us? Madam Clerk,
Last night.
come on, y'all. Let's kick this one down the road a little bit more. It came out last night.
We're gonna kick it down in 2 weeks, go to public hearing. We can kick it down, we gotta have a public hearing on it. So it's gonna be more than kicking it down the road. Because then the public can speak and the resident, and the commission can speak.
In 2
I
That's
weeks.
what
think
this
you're
is
talking
for.
about 2 different things.
I'm sure I am. I'm just talking about not
That's
to
what-
prove. I'm talking about I need to get more information about this district.
They're not listening to you.
I want to see how much more information about this district that I can find out. And then how's it gonna affect the city's general fund? And how's it gonna affect the residents of Benton Harbor? Now, if you just take it, it looks slimy. This looks real slimy, the way it's presented to us one day, yesterday, today, I get this. It's something looks not together. And I wanna kick this down the road for more information.
In 2 weeks, we'll have a public hearing.
That is not kicking it down the road, that's just waiting for the 2 weeks. I'm talking about having another discussion about it.
We can talk about it after the meeting.
And Mr. Chairman, just to make a point, I personally began typing this stuff last Friday, and typed on it all day Monday and all day yesterday up until I got it all to her. Every piece of it. And I went as fast as I could with the other things that come up and that I have to do.
My problem will be this, y'all, I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. We're talking about putting a freeze on somebody who already paying taxes.
Right.
I guarantee you before the year end, you're gonna have entities coming to us, talking about doing buildings, rehabilitation, and they don't wanna pay a dime of taxes.
I wouldn't either if we was giving it
No, no.
away.
But it's two different things. One is a freeze, and they still pay it. Two is, I'm gonna put a fence at my house, put a roof on my house, put an air conditioner, improvements. All that, when you start doing that to a commercial property, raises your taxable value. So if they wanna put up a new fence, they wanna do $200,000 for improvements to a building, but they're still paying taxes. They're not asking us for any grant dollars, any loan, any money, or anything. They still paying taxes. I just, maybe build a small one somewhere else for 20,000. That turns.
Yeah, just a little bit of clarity. One, so I thought this was mainly, the subject was to move this forward to public discussion.
Yes.
That was the move. But number two, I do hear the commissioner in that in terms of the residents, just like the golf course, that's not really for the residents of Ben Harbor. And the golf course is a farce because the average worker cannot afford a golf membership. That's not just Ben Harbor, that's in Detroit, that's Flint, that's Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids. But this facility, is it designed to have accommodations for the socioeconomics of the city of Ben Harbor? You're doing the improvement, but is the improvement for the workers of Whirlpool, or is it the improvement for the Ben Harbor residents and the Whirlpool employees?
The improvement is for the use of anyone in the public, whether from Ben Harbor or anywhere, that comes in and wants to use the facility.
The question was in terms of usability, accessibility, is this more of a private venture or this venture allows the residents of Ben Harbor to participate because they can't afford the golf course. So do they afford this facility?
Some residents will afford the golf course or the facility, and some may not. Some may be able to afford it, but choose not to. It's a public facility.
Yeah, I mean,
Private,
Okay.
public.
let me say this though, before we go to that extreme, real quick. I mean, not saying this, what you're saying is not correct, but he does have a whole lot of minority employees. And it's hard around here to find a place to hire some of these minority males that are working there. And get paid.
That's what he promised to do when he came here.
And he's doing
And he didn't say he was gonna ask for no tax credit.
If I may, Chair,
it, Commissioner.
with whatever decision we make, can we just please keep in the forefront of our minds that, we have to be trying to seek how to add to our tax base to pay for the improvements of their water plants that are out there. And that should be at the forefront of all of our minds with our decision making as it relates to anything having to do with our general fund funding.
Commissioner, she missed the part with the chair pointed
I
out.
understood the freeze as
Right.
opposed to, yes,
Right.
yes.
Right,
But
that's the chair
I
point.
may want a freeze on mine too, while I do some improvements.
I'm sorry, I'm tongue tied right now. I would, just request that we move forward and, go to public hearing, there you go, thank you.
And I was saying again, and I would say, if you're not going out to, the Renaissance, I've been out there, I've worked out there, and it wasn't for me. So I didn't enjoy it, so I didn't join that
And then-
or any other, so I would say go out there and see, there's a young man who
It's
works at
nice.
Ben Harbor High School that's actually been working out there for a very long time, and I know, so.
That's what he promised to do when
Yeah,
he
but
came
what I'm
here.
saying is, I
Barbers
mean,
from the barber shop I go to.
go out there, so it wasn't for me. But everybody has that opportunity, police officers, so,
Choices.
yeah, that's their choice, and I don't think we need to say what's not for our residents and what
Exactly.
isn't. Our residents can go wherever they want to in this community, this is our community,
If they
and so they
afford
can
it.
go out there if they choose to,
Amen.
and some do.
Well, I tell you,
I would say go check it out.
We all
I think, point of order now.
let's keep on moving,
Motion.
And y'all- if y'all, does anybody know in this room, and many fireworks be burning during that 4th of July,
And after,
many new outfits,
Look,
we can do
don't
what
get
we
into
want to
personal
force.
money.
No, but everybody don't have a
Before,
side
we
figure.
wanna
You don't have to have one.
you know, they don't, because the way the city was popping off for 4th of July, everybody was
we didn't have to have those last 3 holes on the golf course, either.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
Quite welcome.
Approval of the Justice 40 Plan Initial Budget Work Plan. Can you speak to that, and if there's any questions, get the questions ready.
Yes, sir. We are at the beginning of implementation of the president's designation of many underserved communities in the country as being Justice 40. What that is supposed to signify to the various federal funding agencies and subsequently state agencies are going to buy into this too. They sought to begin the implementation of this process in various ways involving entities other than just government for some reason. This particular one is through what's called the Funders Network. And as you may note when you read part of it. Yes, sir.
I'll interrupt you, sir.
Okay.
Can we just get down to the nitty gritty of it?
Summarizing.
We're getting a grant for $74,740. That's the West Michigan, it's through the West Michigan Sustainable Business Forum to support the application submitted this round under Partners for Places. And
So we're getting a grant to hire executive director at the wage of
no,
68 to 75,000.
We're not on that one yet.
that's
I'm sorry. So we got, this is the one that says that we're gonna hire somebody for project.
No.
I'm
No.
sorry.
This is
We're number 4.
Yeah, no, it's project Justice 40, right?
Justice for
Project, oh, that's the description for the position. I got my hand.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So this is just us going out to get the grant, or we're stating that we already got the grant?
And actually, this particular grant, we're not really getting, it's going to, it's for Benton Harbor, but it's going to, the West Michigan Sustainable Business Forum to, support the Partners for Places, project that they're setting up. And that project, they'll use this money to hire a person that will report to them, but be assigned to work with us. Infrastructure.
Okay, well, that's somebody who can help you
It will
get all these projects done that you need and
help us
necessary.
get some of these done and to pursue other Justice 40 funded programs.
So we won't have to match it or nothing come out, it'll be an employee that'll be paid for by somebody else
Yes, yes,
that will help us.
exactly,
All right.
exactly. And as a matter of fact, you may note on the back page of that, the Americana Foundation,
That's,
they actually did the match that was necessary, provided $25,000 to
Wow.
match that.
thank you. Dr. Time,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I couldn't access these yesterday or the day before, online, so I'm just reading them now, but The question is, so, WMSBF, that's a total separate independent organization of the city?
No, not of the city. It's an independent organization,
I said separate from the city.
separate from the city, yes.
And so, in order for them to access these funds, they need to come through the city to be able to get the funds?
No, these don't actually have to come through the city, but we want the city to concur, because there's other parts of the city that's going to take place. We're trying to get in position, so when this justice for it starts, we can take advantage of everything that comes in.
So I'm not,
They're gonna, as part of this, they're going to sub-grant to, help a couple of local nonprofits to do some things with it. And then they'll also pay the money to hire the person to be assigned to work with us to help get things done.
through the chair, so this looks like this is a pre-arranged, preset arrangement where they have targeted personnel, targeted groups already in place, and then they just need to show that they have a relationship with the city.
Yes.
And so this is just a company coming in and like some other companies and wanting to say that they're gonna be working with the city, and they bring their own bodies attached to the jobs, and they've already selected out their own groups that they wanna work with. But in order to, for them to get funding, they have to show some type of, relationship with the city, where the city has recognized them as a body.
You were partly on the right path, but no, the last part you're on. They're already funded and doing a number of things. As a matter of fact, this is the organization that just helped us to get that $1 million in the budget for the city for the refuse yard that we were talking about working on, and the compost facility and so forth. They've been doing some things, working with us along with it. We got an established working relationship. They're trying to help us with this and the transfer station. Right, the transfer station. And they're working through the mechanism that's available. Eagle is the one that's contracted with them to do some of these things. So, and there's another part in there that will come up. But I recommend that we go forward with this.
So you have an established relationship already,
Yes.
and now what you're doing is formally recognizing.
We're actually going to another step where this is a means of them providing some additional support to the city. Both for getting things done, they'll be providing some funds that they designated from discussions they've held already with the Benton Harbor CDC and also Project E. They'll be doing small amounts with them to do certain things.
All right. Thank you. Approval of receipts, reception. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Did you guys just get this document today?
I'm just reading it now.
You just reading it now. Now, tell me how this makes sense. That we're gonna get something as important as Justice 40. The Justice 40 plan, do you hear me? This is what President Biden put in place in 2021. This is 23.
Well, the problem I have is, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, is that when you get the agenda and you see the agenda, call his office. Call our office.
Today I got it.
And you know what time I called him? I called him at noon. I called him at 1. I called him at 3. He was in another meeting. Called him back at 4. You need to utilize the fact that he's in the office and can answer most of these questions before we even get it.
Honorable Chair,
Well,
Mayor
yeah.
Pro Tem, this is what these meetings are for, so we can hash
So
out.
what was the question?
I think the issue is proper protocol and certain notification.
So, all right, so, but, so do y'all want to cancel meeting until next week? Y'all want to meet again next week for the meeting?
I think
I would,
for such important stuff that's out of this committee, one of the most important committee that we have, planning and economic development, we should not get this kind of stuff one day, less than one day in advance, and then have to read it and understand it in 15 minutes
All right.
and push it,
may I,
and push it. That's not what these committees are
All
for.
right, so I'm gonna give y'all time right now. Go ahead and read through it.
No, I'm gonna ask this question about justice.
We come back to it.
I'm gonna ask this question about
But right,
justice court.
soon we get done with that, we still gotta talk about the approval of grant for Oxford.
Well, dear, let's talk about this right now, and just let me ask this question. If
And then also we gotta
If
get,
this company, this other entity is going to get this person that, a project manager, they report to them, how do we assure that they're looking out for Justice 40 for us?
same way what they did with NSP 2 and NSP 1.
Well, you know how that worked out, don't you?
Well, but still, you still have guidelines and regulations, and they still have to come to us to spend the money. I mean, if somebody's doing something for nothing,
It seems like if it comes out of committee and it says, well, we came through committee and now we're gonna vote on it, then we vote on it because we think it's been talked about and vetted and researched in committee. And all we did was,
Like you said, like, I got this yesterday. We had a meeting, there was something here yesterday. I didn't come to that yesterday because I was doing my homework on what we got. I appreciate it. We should have gotten it probably at the beginning of the week. But I have to sit there and open up each one of those links to read through each one of those things. So, yeah, I do understand. I don't have a lot of
My
questions.
problem with that, I tried to get access, she
Yeah.
asked me access, and I couldn't get access to the meeting.
can I make a statement? Because it's been ever
if
since,
that time to get access, he said he cannot get access.
He has access.
ever
He should
since,
have access.
Biden won office,
I approved them all this morning
there are folks that have been lobbying for
or last night.
poor, impoverished communities, especially those that were hit by emergency management. That's where Justice 40 initiative came from. And it really doesn't have, it's just that, it's an initiative. And it's something
I'll show
that
the
we
whole folder.
ourselves put together.
Then you always have.
And it's so broad that you just can't point to one thing. And it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us like-minded people to make sure that we're on the same page, even as it relates to what we were discussing yesterday about our master plan. We know what we need in our communities, and we know that we want to look out for those that are in this community right now, not those that are yet to come, but those that are suffering in the here and now is what this thing is about, and setting other things in place for the future. I mean, it's so broad, you just can't point to one thing.
But like, this is going before the commission on the 7th. So Commissioner Henry, if you have any questions, you can get any of those questions answered before our meeting on the 7th.
I've
Yeah,
been telling
so
y'all.
you
we'll
have
do
to-
this.
okay, I got you before the 7th. Now, we're gonna have a public meeting on the 7th, and we're gonna have another meeting on the 7th. I got you. But do anybody know what Justice 40 really is? We're supposed to get 40% of all the billions of dollars for infrastructure to do what we need to do for ourselves. We don't have to ask nobody for it. 40% of billions of dollars is billions of dollars.
This is the human infrastructural part as well.
So I'm just letting you know that Justice 40 is for us. And it seems like this other entity who has been out there controlling and pushing buttons from different avenues. Same people, best practice and all of them, same people. Now they want to make a determination. I'm having problems with the flow of our money and the flow of our authority. The Justice 40 belong to us, and we don't give it to somebody else to do it.
I got another suggestion. How about this? That we hire somebody, we already got some other help over there. But this man needs help.
We need a law.
Because all these grants that's out there, all these things are out there in this community,
That's what we
and the
need.
federal and state, Mr. Little cannot do it for the Scotland crew. And I'm gonna say this, and y'all might not like it, but we find money to do all these other kind of little things. That's why y'all pay for that newspaper, to put the information out there in the community for stuff like this.
Who pays for the newspaper?
I thought we got, don't we got a contract about it?
Please.
Been trying.
No, we do got a contract.
We don't have a contract because we don't have the money.
No, we got a contract right now with Living Spirit to put that stuff out there.
We don't have the money.
We do that.
Okay,
That's what we
ask
thought.
him, he the one
I thought we awarded a contract for that.
Question to the city manager.
Don't we have a contract for public relations?
No,
sir. I thought it was doing that
We
one
did,
budget.
but that was a long time ago. It's over with.
Well, I apologize. Want to
One
clear.
comment I wanted to make regarding this one resolution, I want to choose wording this because the way I wrote it, it appears that the money's coming to us. It's going to benefit us, but not to us.
All right, so it's gonna benefit not you. Hey, I'm gonna backwards real quick. I gotta go grab my daughter. So I'm gonna see, I'm gonna be right back. Today's my birthday, I turned 47.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, old man.
And yeah, thank you. But when I was a baby. And
It's
so,
all right, one of these days
I
you'll
do
wear Pampers.
appreciate everybody. It never rained in Southern California. It's raining in Ben Harbor. And so, yeah, my daughter got a driver's license, but she done got into car accidents already. So y'all pray my strength to the Lord. Yeah, come.
Okay, we're gonna push this one through too, huh?
Chairman.
All right. So what is
I
the
put democracy on
vote
the
to bring this
phone.
one to Commission on 7?
I'm only getting access now, so I have.
Commissioner Seats,
Yes,
Dr. Thompson, he didn't have access to it, so
can he get access?
He
No,
said
she just gave it to me, but
to move this item to the full body,
I mean, I
you have to get consensus. I'm sorry.
can consist on that, because we're gonna explain the next part of the project.
It's too much to be done to be waiting on this.
All
It needs to go.
Thank you. All right, next item.
Okay,
You got a question about this particular item, the Justice 40?
Yeah, through Justice 40, I'd like to get a lawyer and a law firm for the citizens of Ben Harbor. We need that. Nobody else understand that? I feel that. From my experiences around these parts, we need that, and we need to be in agreement. You know how you guys vote 9 votes for something, for somebody else? We need a unanimous vote to get the citizens a lawyer and a law firm behind it. And we can solve a lot of these issues that we have. Otherwise, it just continues. And it won't stop, like Sean said, it won't stop and it won't quit. Would you please do that for the citizens?
Thank you.
I'm asking all of you, because to try to ask one of you, I don't think I could get 5 votes up there. But I'm asking all of you to do that for the citizens of Benton Harbor. With whatever monies we got, either that or ask some of these marijuana dealers, businesses would say they were gonna help us, let them help us too. Do this for the citizens, that way the citizens could be on board, on point with all of this stuff that's going on around here. I don't wanna see Benton Harbor the way it was in the 50s. Today, in this day and time. So help me do that. And I feel like my time down here wasn't wasted. Otherwise, it is a waste of time to me.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you for hearing me out.
Yeah, on with your question, for the second time, can we, combine, 4, 5, and 6, since it is, to accept, the monies, for a grant instead of individual? I'm not sure about number 7, in terms of that grant, but this is just approval to accept funds. And I think combining those, that would so please the chair.
Absolutely. Mr. Lewis? We're combining 4, 5, and 6 because they were all related to the Ox Creek. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 5 and 6, 5, 6, and 7.
5, 6, and 7.
Thank you. Oh,
Yep, 5, yeah.
just 5 and 6.
5,
5, 6, and
5,
7
6.
are all Justice 40s. 5, 6, and 7 are.
5, 6, and 7 are Justice 40.
No.
Yeah.
5 and 6 are simply the
Ox Creek.
acceptance of grants that are related to Ox
Already.
Creek.
That have been accepted though, right?
It's subject
Seven
to
acceptance of
Justice
grant.
40.
Or that's
It's
something different?
still subject to Justice 40.
7 is the one that we were just talking
Right, we
about.
just talking about.
Justice 40 item, the Funders Network. That's the one that I'm gonna change the language on it,
Okay, so
because
we
we're
can
not
say-
actually getting
No,
the
you
Justice
just-
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore we can combine, 5 and 6
Mr. Lewis?
to accept those funds.
Okay.
Are we gonna speak on number 7? Because I do have a couple of questions.
What's that, was number 7?
It was part of the Justice 40.
Are we gonna speak on it? We're not gonna have no conversation about it, because what? That's not the way committee do.
Commissioner Henry, if you have a question about that one, you can ask him now.
I just need to
Items
know
5 and 6.
if there is a plan for any of these. Are we as elected officials privy to the plan? So here they speak of a plan, a program. To the chair,
Mr. Lewis?
I would like to make sure that city manager, Mr. Mitchell, provide us with those plans. So we'll be able to see what really the money is about and who's the players, and we'll be able to hold their feet to the fire to make them accountable, to give us what we need. But if we just give them help, just I'll do the research, and we got about 4 others, we'll do some more.
You will receive all the information on the planning as it develops. And remember, let me restate again, essentially, there are 3 parts to this. One part is that they're going to hire a person that will be assigned to work with the city in conjunction with what we're working on doing, and also with CDC and the other nonprofit to carry out their parts of the missions. And the whole concept is designed around us moving into a stage to be able to pursue other Justice 40 funded monies coming in. And we'll keep you completely up to date on exactly what's going on as it unfolds and goes forward.
Well, this one seems to have a pretty well thought out plan.
That's the total plan. They're just
Work
looking-
plan, and it's pretty already set up, seems to me. I'm asking, can we get it, since it's all about us? Can you share the information with us? Here's a plan, a work plan concerning Ben Arbor. They've already set it up. We don't have to wait for them to do it, because it's there already.
But what I'm
Can
saying
we
is,
get it as elected officials?
you've got it here right now, most everything that we've got, except the partners and places that I'll get to you.
Is it a time frame? Because I know you're busy, Mr. Little, but I have to see, sometimes I have waited months, and I really don't want to wait months. Is it a time frame that you can get that information to me?
I will get to you what I have between now and Monday.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Items 5 and 6,
Okay.
Oxford.
Item 5 is simply to approve receipt and acceptance of the $3 million grant that Congressman Upton had set as a congressional appropriation for us, that's coming through HUD as a community project funded grant. And that's it, as simple as that.
Any questions on this item, Commissioner?
Yes, unlike the other grant that we received, and this body approved, I thought it was very deceitful for a picture to be taken holding a check down at Hall Park without all 9 that approved it holding the check. So when we're accepting something of this type of magnitude at any time on any given level, and it happens, it needs to happen right here where the decision is made. When they're presenting whatever it is that we are approving.
I believe the incident that you're talking about had to do with the grant that was coming through.
That we approve, yes.
And
Yes.
basically, the funding agency wanted to do it.
Okay, now, that's all fine, that's it, that's fine. I'm just saying, though, that we need to put something in place because I think it can look very deceitful to our residents about us. And I think we get enough of that.
Okay, number, if I go to the next one, this is, as a part of this overall process and all the people that are involved in it, I believe I reported to you earlier that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration had approved a grant for, I believe, about $900,000, but that went to the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, where they are doing the planning for the habitat restoration and so forth that's going on as, in relationship to Ox Creek. And within that, we put the money in there that is being referenced here, $350,650 that's being sub-granted from them to the city for the purpose of hiring a project manager to help me with overseeing all the stuff that's got to go on there at Ox Creek to get to where we're trying to go. And this money is to fund that position for up to 4 years.
Thank you, Chairman. Will an individual be able to assist with other grant programs to try to, or are they just restricted to this?
There'll be other grant programs, but most of them will be related to that project. That's a huge project with a lot of other pieces in it. For instance, right now, the first step we've got to complete before we start doing anything down there is an environmental review. And HUD has told us that environmental review has got to pick up and include the Spark grant that's going to be done for Hall Park and dozens of other things down there. And so because there are these related things, that person will be tied in with all of these. Now, one of the things that I suggested at the meeting of the Brownfield last week is that because we will have a person here that will have these skills and knowledge about environmental and other things of that nature, that person could also fill in as the support for Brownfield, as opposed to hiring some firm. You have somebody that works between both of them, and it just helps to coordinate them. But those things that are closely related, yes, they'll be able to do them.
Come back.
My question would be when I know I'm behind and I made the statement in a meeting one evening, and I still have these funds and I'm gonna have to return them. I was awarded some funding for signage of Ox Creek. And that was just basically to let the community know that fish at your own risk. If it's just that simple, I really need to get with Marcy, because I really want to look out for the interest of the residents. Because the people that were down there cleaning up on the left-hand side, those engineers stated the same thing. There was a young lady that had knee-high boots on. I didn't know the water was that deep. I mean, it wasn't when we were children. But, it might have been on that end, but we played on the other end where you just reach down and get a tadpole. But, she was saying that the biggest one she had gotten was probably twice the size of her hand, and I'm like, you got a fish that big out there? So somebody is probably eating those fish and not knowing that it's contaminated.
Totally.
And we need to know,
Ox Creek.
we need to know
Fishing.
how dangerous
If it
you know,
is,
the contaminants are. So,
I will share this, and they're continuing to
Yeah.
study it.
that's what I thought.
Several months ago, Eagle had people from their clean water division put 12 sensors in, starting from here at Highland all the way out to Home Depot. And the reports that came back on those, we were surprised. We
Okay.
thought it was contaminated, and most of it isn't.
I remember speaking with Marcy at the meeting,
Yeah.
and well, actually, I ran into her down here, she said, well, Commissioner
Some
Adams,
of
we're
them
finding out that
just-
it's not as contaminated as we once thought.
Exactly.
But the Brownfield, I don't speak for the Brownfield at all, but we were waiting for millions looking for money to clean up Ox Creek, because we were told that it was gonna take millions.
What happens to
The
the
overall thing is, but that's much more than just cleaning the water. They're gonna be also testing and cleaning the banks.
Right.
They're gonna be cleaning
I'm
up
aware
the
of that.
trash
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, some of the vegetation, all of that.
What happened to the bloom? What happened to it? I saw it. What happened to it?
To the what?
The bloom that was on the water, contaminated water. What happened to it? Usually they go through a long process of cleaning that contamination up. What happened to it?
One of the things that may have happened to some of what was there was coming from the harbor plating site. And once they fenced that in and put that other building over, they put wells all the way around it to capture water, pump it over there, treat it, and then put it back in the creek. Instead of it seeping directly in the creek, they're pulling it over to that building and treating it, and then putting it. And I think that probably took some of it away.
Can I ask this question before we get off the subject? Because we haven't bothered to, but we still have, it was Atlantic Automotive when they started, but we put some safeguards in place as Brownfield Authority Board to ensure that whatever companies release any type of contaminants into, that they will be held responsible for its cleanup. So are we checking, I think it's Javis now, but see, they changing names and stuff, and something needs to be done about that.
We're going to be checking all of it. We're primarily right now concentrating on Maine up to Home Depot.
Okay.
but we will be checking.
Check the beach out too. Well, yeah.
So what,
Yeah,
Mr. Milton?
I was gonna comment and then.
Check the beach out too, while you check it. We swimming and it goes right there, so check it too.
Also, when you have stagnated water, then it's either to put a contamination to stand, but what happens is when you start the mobilization, like right now, with this downpour, you're gonna have products that's gonna be pushed out further diluted. So what Mr. Little pointed to was you have to go and we look for more for soil contamination, and like with the tadpoles, reptiles, you look at the livestock that's involved with that area, and that's how you make a determinant of what the contamination is. But so that the movement of the water, now that it's moving better, that you're gonna see less of a contamination. But I think that the issue I'm asking now is that, so are we going ahead with accepting, this grant moving forward? Number, well, so.
Yeah, so yeah. We were just still, I think that was the last discussion on it.
Okay.
So, yeah, one more question around.
Yeah, to Mr. Little, so Southwest Planning, Michigan Planning Commission is going to hire them, this project worker?
No, they'll make a grant to us, we'll hire the person.
We are hired.
Yes, and they'll report to me and they'll do it.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions around this item before we move forward? We'll, make a motion that we move this item
Yeah,
to the
second.
floor. The next item on the agenda is item number 8, approval of authorization for the manager to accept, execute, and implement grant for Eagle High Water Study Plan.
Yeah, that's the grant that we talked about when Marcy was given that time not too long ago, that we were applying for the Eagle High Water Grant to look at the impact of the rising of the changes in lake level
Yeah.
on Riverview Drive, the water table behind there and all of that. This is that one. Yeah, and this is the 392,000 that we applied for that will be used to study how we can address those issues. And as you know, we have a big issue behind the old inner city bank and the old All Phase property there, where you sometimes see water standing.
So my question is, are they seeking grants for the inner city as well, where water's high?
It's for that entire stretch down Riverview Drive.
Okay, but we're talking Riverview Drive, it's down by the
Yeah.
lake.
Yes.
I'm
No,
saying,
not by the lake, from where the marina is, and where
right,
Yarborough
all
Mill,
right,
all the way down Main Street.
all the way down to Main Street, but
Yes.
we're still on the lower level of
Yeah.
town, on the edge of town.
Yeah.
I'm talking about where water not recedes, but stands in the inner city.
Yeah,
For them to seek grants
That's
like
what this
this.
is about.
Okay,
You see,
so
that,
this is just a start.
yeah, that happens when the water level goes up.
Right.
The water table underneath there goes up also, and that's when you see the water
And
standing.
I'm aware, so hopefully this will fix the problem, like in the parking lot of Connexus, where the water is right there.
Yeah,
I
this-
mean, the lake is,
yeah,
No, that's not.
This will identify the issues that are involved.
Yeah, that's a whole problem. It just don't get easy. It just getting a.
I think that it would be nice if we could just get the street sweeping and go down,
Go ahead,
Riverview.
question,
No, I was just saying, we move forward.
support.
And then
They gonna take care
I
of
can
it.
see
Trust me.
where
They got all
Empire
kinds of it
it's gonna
and over here too.
affect Jennings and Superior. The water is standing in the road now, has been in the road for the last 6 months. And can't nobody tell me that distance down there is gonna take care of inner city.
No, I mean, that's different, the high water table is.
I understand that,
then,
But it's
a
high
plug
water
drain,
in the
then a
neighborhood.
plug drain, that's
Here
different.
goes another grant
That's a plug drain.
focused on their problem and not ours. I'm through.
So, next items on the agenda, a lot of them we covered, item number 12. Did you have any other?
Yes,
Stuff?
I wanted to just touch on,
Covered.
Who are these?
they are the professors that were head of the College of Engineering at University of Michigan that sort of rounded up the group to start working with the city. They first worked with me over at Colorado, helping to solve some of our problems over there, like tracking the buses, things like that. In fact, in 2018, it was one of their professors actually was putting sensors in Ox Creek at that time.
Okay, this is just.
Just the things.
Appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The state
What we
appreciation.
Are they ones that the round we gave $75 to?
So we can go with A and C.
Yes, on A, these are just to inform so you know what's happening and stuff. University of Michigan, that same grant that I was just referring to, that was a 1.6 million National Science Foundation grant. They had been funded to do the things they've done. That grant ends next month. And they've gotten, and there's a small amount of money left. And they have agreed in order to utilize that money to assist us. They're going to hire an analyst on their staff, they'll pay the benefits and so forth, but they're going to make that person available to us also to work with us in areas like helping to write grants to get the EV charging stations and look at bike pass and whatever else we want to sign them to. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. The discussion on Ox Creek legal representation, as I knew it would, but even sooner than I knew it would, it's become important. The Drain Commissioner, as you know, has set up a drainage district that includes our part of Ox Creek. And at the same time, that's joining in with your Stoker on the other side of I-94. The water comes down through there and then runs to us. We've been talking to him about the things that we're doing and planning and working on for a couple of years at least. We want to get an attorney to sit down with us, the Drain Commissioner, and their attorney to spell out in writing what they will do and what we will do, what they can assess us for and what they cannot, because as I've said to him, we're getting millions in grant money to do the improvements and stuff that we want done on Ox Creek to benefit the city of Benton Harbor. We do not want something to be done on his part that comes through and washes or wipes it all away, nor do we want him to turn around and do special assessments on the city for stuff that we've already paid for and stuff like that. So good fences make good neighbors. We get us a good, experienced attorney who is experienced in the drain code and sit down with him and their attorney, and we spell all this stuff out and avoid problems down the road. Because one part of it that we do want to get them to do is to spell out, once this is all done, there'll be maintenance requirements. And if they want to do the maintenance, how it would be done, what the special assessments would be. We don't want to wind up picking up costs for 8,000 folks out here in, 16 square miles and that. So I have spoken with, in fact, for a couple of months, have been talking to different people and getting referrals and whatnot. and we identified an attorney out of Lansing, the firm of Foster Swift. Foster Swift is the name of the firm. And the person has had experience with the drain code, has actually done this with Brennan, who's the attorney for the drain commission, and with our drain commission, they're not strangers. So that's what we're going to be doing shortly. Just want to make everybody aware. So if something comes up, it's not a surprise to anybody.
So is that being paid for out
Out of the grant.
of the grant?
So, can an attorney like that, and I'm just asking the question, going out there trying to see where we can save or do a collaboration. The Brownfield, we have an attorney that we pay. So, could you look into that further? Look into, the type of work that, the Brownfield attorney does as opposed to this gentleman here? It may be,
Sure.
I mean, you're good at trying to bring a collaboration together.
We'll take a look. Okay, and the last item is, I wanted to kind of update you all. I know recently we had some discussion that people were saying they didn't know what we were doing. Over the last year, I have talked with 4 different firms before I spoke with the gentleman from Detroit that we had last week. And the one that seemed to be most responsive for what we were trying to do was share, just so you can see the kinds of considerations that we are talking to them about for the city.
I'm glad that we're touching base on this because I had something pop up on my phone and I had to change my system. And it was AT&T for high-speed internet, high-speed broadband, same thing. And I had to put my information in, and when I put my zip code in, it wasn't available. But this is about
Is that
having,
plausible?
it was not, having accessibility to a choice of our individual choosing. So I'm hoping that that's where we're going.
Actually, in short, where we're really trying to go is we want a community-based broadband system that we will own.
Oh, there you go.
That we will own and operate.
Okay.
And we are working with this firm along with Nokia, the people that we brought to that non-disclosure agreement sometime before, so we can talk more in detail about this. We want to go after the money through the BEADS program. And you may have heard earlier about the Robin program. Now, Robin is the funds that came available through the county, primarily targeted for rural areas and so forth, but was available for us to pursue also. But the legislature had gotten their hands on the Robin money and required that an ISP, internet service provider, like Comcast or AT&T or one of them, be the applicant. And I know how that works. They always there as long as that big pot of federal money is coming through. As soon as the money's gone, they're gone. And everything's back to business as usual. What I am anticipating, and you'll see in here that what the discussions have been about, pursuing funding and aiming to set up a community-based broadband system. Objective to create a system that the city can control and operate, ensuring access to jobs, maintenance, and repairs. Plan includes oversizing the system to accommodate customers from adjoining townships if they wish to participate. City wants to avoid relying on big players who may prioritize government funding and neglect the community's needs. There's a centrally located building, formerly an armory, that could serve as a central office for the broadband system. The city aims to involve neighboring communities for broader participation and benefits, developing options including ARPA money, BEAD, Robin bonding, and private investment. The city is working with Michigan State Broadband Commission and exploring opportunities for grants. Project's goals include boosting economic development, attracting more people and commercial activity to the community. Next steps involve conducting a high-level design to determine project viability and funding requirements. To create a broadband system the city can control and operate, providing access to jobs and high-level design to determine the project's viability and funding needs. We're wanting to be in line for when the state starts releasing these funding. We want to be there at the gate with our application and all of our I's dotted and T's crossed, so we can get our share of the money to do what we want to do. The idea being that through Nokia and Regional Authority Carpool, which incidentally is a minority term, Regional Authority Carpool.
There was another one too, but you left out.
They were. We talked with them. Couldn't find the people that we wanted.
But we found it at the Armory as opposed to 200 ballpark.
Yes, it's better, and we're not talking about the entire office space there, because we're still developing. In fact, the idea is what we've been talking about all along. Yep, a tenant in there that can pay the lights, water, gas, insurance, and then we can fix the rest of it and make it available for kids to play basketball, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so that's kind of where we're trying to go with this thing. If we're successful with it, we will be able to run fiber with access to all of the homes in our city. We'll be able to have smart homes that are set up where all of it is connected. We'll be able to hopefully attract some businesses. One of the beauties of the broadband system is a person can sit in an office or in a home here at Benton Harbor and communicate just like if they were downtown Chicago in a high-rise building. You never know the difference. It's that fast. You may have also heard in the last month about the 500 and something million that was committed to run broadband from Benton Harbor to Chicago. And all that's coming right into place where we're trying to get to. And we're, yes, trying because we ain't nowhere until we get the money.
Right.
And the letters of intent mean something.
Yes,
Through Chair, Mr. Littleton. Since we're working with Nokia, so we're going to be going with the 10G because a lot of it already started going towards 7G. And the question is are they going to go underground versus over top, right? Because that's going to be better.
we're talking about actual, laying actual fiber underground.
Right, so that's actually better, safer.
Yes.
And the key is going to make sure that we're going to be doing the 10G and not be behind with 5 and 6G.
I don't want to tell you something that I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
The 10G is where you're at, and you have a similar model in Ann Arbor.
And most of these, when we're talking about these, you're talking about wireless. We're right now concentrating on the direct fiber connection.
Right, but off of that,
It could very well be.
Yeah.
It could very well be.
Yeah.
Their purpose of being involved would be to make sure that we produce a state-of-the-art system that's second to none.
Madam Chair, of course, I hear them say will be ensured access to jobs, training, and that kind of stuff. But I want to know how. How do we get our people in those positions to do the work? may it be drilling or digging or whatever it is, how are our people going to get involved in this broadband? It's another Justice 40 initiative. So
Yes.
how do we make sure that we're ready for broadband? I remember when I was in California, I saw an article about Benton Harbor in 1981. We got broadband in 1981 in Benton Harbor. Tripped me out. Now here we are talking about it again. So how?
And that article you're talking about is absolutely on target. In 1986, a company called Emerald that has fiber in the city approached us and were willing to lay fiber through this city for the residents, for us, in exchange for the right to be able to access and do our roadways. We were ready to go on that. And then Wolf happened and I left. And that left. Just like the casino and a number of other things.
So jobs, training.
And the way to answer your question is that with them helping to design and set up everything necessary to make that go, including the people with the know-how, that we would then hire local people to get to work along and be trained by them so that by the end of a certain period of time, they leave and we continue to carry it out. And we would hopefully do a better job in some of the things that happen with the water plant but it's another utility, just exactly like it, be handled in the same way. We'd have our people doing the billing, our people doing the services and repairs, the installation, and everything that's associated with it.
Will there be a cost to the resident?
Oh, of course. But it'd be an affordable cost,
It'll be
and a lot lower than what they would be
Comcast is
getting.
paying.
Yeah.
And will we have same kind of arrangement? I know we're gonna be ownership of this.
No.
So we don't have to pay ourselves, I guess. So that's not,
We do. We have to operate like a business, but not like a profit
Right,
business.
that's the business.
Yeah, you know, make it pay for itself and hopefully generate some revenue that will come back to the city.
and do we have your, a real understanding that it is gonna be a decrease for the citizen?
That's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In other words, to make it, let me be clear in responding to you because I listened to your words. Right now, most of these citizens are not paying for and may not be able to afford,
Yeah.
if it were here, broadband. And our point is that we're gonna make it affordable and at a price that would be a lot lower than what they would get if, as she said, when she went on there, AT&T, it wasn't available.
Right.
Well, one of the days that I was down there debating, they were putting it in my front yard out there
Right.
in the township.
Yeah.
But I know what they're charging for it, and we would make it available at a lot less.
Well, let's
Because we don't have to make a profit.
Right.
We have to make it pay for itself
Right.
and hopefully
Affordable to those that
Right.
can't afford it. And
and
this is what
hopefully
Obama had
generate
in
some
mind.
revenue that can come back to the city
Exactly.
that'll help to relieve that tax burden everybody's having to carry.
So this is what Obama had in mind when he was talking about putting broadband need to be in rural areas. It was like before it's all
It's
open.
very awesome. It's-
But my question to Mr. Little is, just like the strategic alliance community development. Now, this young man and his crew, we're talking about coming in here and actually training and taking on some of the residents to train to lay this fiber optic cable. So are they still in the running with working with Nokia? I mean, no?
Nokia went back, we asked them to go back and talk to them and find out they can work something
You
out.
asked who?
I asked Nakia to go back and talk to you, same
Okay,
gentleman,
okay.
because that's where, see, what was happening there that was kind of trouble to start with.
Does anybody have any more questions? Cause this, I think they have none. About, broadband, cause everything has been
Oh,
covered on
no,
the agenda.
no, this-
So, is there any other questions? Do you have any other questions? Do you have any other questions?
I have one. Why can't we make it free to the citizens of Benton Harbor?
It probably
So
will
it
be
can't
for
be
some.
free, it can't be free because it'll be run like a business. It'll
Right.
be very discounted versus what
Right.
people are paying through Comcast, AT&T, and some of the other
Right.
providers. We can't make it free, Mr. Duncan, because it's a business.
It may be
So in
some
order
type
for
of
it to be-
vouchers.
In order for it to be sustainable, we have to charge something.
Yeah.
And so it'll be at the lowest cost that we can charge,
The
but we
lowest,
have to charge something to actually keep it running.
Yeah.
We
the
can't, it
lowest
can't be free.
charge?
We don't know what that'll be, so I can't give
No, I'm
you something.
asking, is this what we're
Yes.
gonna do?
Yes,
The
yes,
lowest charge?
that's the intent, That's the
That we can afford to do.
yeah.
Because see, we may get grant money to put it in. They're not gonna give us any money to keep
Right,
running.
to run it,
Right.
Yeah.
so it has to be run, so yeah.
I was just
All
trying
right,
to make it
thanks,
as low as
everybody.
possible. That's all I was trying to do. Always keep it going strong.
Actually,
Sandy, what, number 7?
Too late.
number 7.
They wouldn't let me do
What was your question
Oh,
around
yeah.
number 7?
What type of branch, what do that branch do? Like, what type of branch?
That was connected to the Justice 40 that we discussed, so that's what that was, accepting those funds.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
That's that.